The ribbons round your garden gay, the sum in colors bright and gay, of every lover that you wanted yet still sent away. And every moment brings a revolution to your waking mind. It's sunny, then it rains again, you see, and then you're blind.
Okay, it's the 1st of November, and we're going to show setting up a compost bin. Here's some of the things you don't need these. I mean, you don't need to pen in your compost. You can just do it in a pile. You can just leave leaves on the ground and they'll go back into the soil. However, if you want to get it done faster, you want a little neatness to it, this will help. This is 2-inch by 4-inch welded wire. And it comes in a roll. This roll is 50 foot. It would make four bins, 12.5 feet long. Then here's plastic, 3-foot plastic, which is the same width as the wire. That's 3-foot wire. And this is 3-foot plastic. And I use this to line the bin so that it keeps the moisture in. Then I have my tape measure in which to measure. And here's my fork. And there's the leaves over there, lots of them. Here are some compost bins that are already set up. Okay, and over there. And now we'll begin. Okay, I'm just going to take this apart, and although this compost isn't necessarily ready to move, I want to do it for the moving stage. So I'm taking all these cheap clothespins. And they're cheap. The springs aren't worth a hoot, but anyway, they help hold the plastic in place. Get those off. Okay. Now you can see that I unbuckle this wire fence from. Well, not from anything, from the other side of it. We simply make little clips by leaving the end long here, and I don't know if you can see that well enough, and then just folding it back, and this can be reused many times. Okay, I'm just setting it up right next to where it was. I don't want to have to shovel this thing for miles. I can't anyway. So I just put them back around, and okay. Now this is the hardest part, because if there's any wind blowing, it's trouble. So what I do is I lay it back about 1.5 inches, and I'll take these clothespins and put them in place, and I shove them all the way down. And I put them about a foot or a little more apart. And okay, this is pretty good. The wind is not too heavy today, so it's working pretty well. And you see I'm just working on around. Okay. Alright, first thing I'm going to do is put a layer of leaves on the bottom. It's nice to have a layered pile, because you want the things with nitrogen in next to the ones with heavy carbon. I'm fortunate in that I have some nitrogen to add to this pile. These are water hyacinths from our pond, and so they should, since they're green and all, it's heavy with nitrogen, they're also lightweight, so I'm going to put a layer of these guys, and then compost that you can put soil or compost, and this has a gazillion microbes in it. So this is kind of like putting the yeast in. It's just going to start the process going, and then the next thing I'll do is take the hose and wet it, because nothing lives without water, and so you need a layer of water to moisten everything you put in there. Some tree trimming going on next door, so you hear some cracking of limbs and makes it a little more interesting. Now I'm going to put another layer of leaves. That gets everybody close to each other so they can interact. And you know how fun interaction is? Well, it builds up a lot of heat. And this pile will get very hot. I had the pile I've got right over here was 145 degrees, I think, when I made it, which is kind of hot to the touch. Alright, so now I'm going to sprinkle those leaves a little bit just to make sure they're moist. Now you can do this with just leaves and water. I put water in there, and if you have a little soil, you can do that. Do that. You don't necessarily need to mix it with the nitrogen or the protein. This is coffee, heavy with coffee grounds, so I'm going to sprinkle that on as my next layer. So this will be hot at this level. If I run out of stuff later, it'll be cooler. It'll still get warm with just the leaves. And then the other thing the compost needs is air. And so you have to feed it with air. I mean, the processes use up all the air, and then in order to reintroduce air, you need to somehow stir the pile. Well, turning it is really good, and it's good exercise, so you don't have to go to the gym, see? Look at that, see? That's great exercise. Now this one has a little straw in it, little coffee, little straw. And now I'm going to moisten it down again. And then I'm going to make a trip over to my leaf pile and get some more leaves. And it's just it's repetitive process, so we'll hook him back toward the end. Okay, this is not steam. This is simply water vapor that's coming off of this. And yes, that is hot. It's probably 130, 140 degrees there. And that's from the respiration of the organisms as they eat the materials in the pile. So this has just been here since Thursday or Friday, and it's now Monday. So it's been cranking pretty well. So we're going to continue making this pile. There's some sweet potato greens coming up. So here's our compost bin, pretty much full of leaves, and I have a dead eggplant there and a pepper. I'm just going to put those in the middle, and then what I would do is just kind of bury them down in there. So that's it. Well, here we are at Tracy Garden, 5630 Tracy, and you can come by and see this compost demonstration site. And here's another compost bin, and there's a literature rack that's going to have some compost recipes in it, So if you live in Kansas City and you're somewhere in the Brookside area, Blue Hills area, somewhere in there, come on by and take a look at what we got going here. You can also visit Niall's Home for Children and see the garden and see the compost set up down there. We want you to learn about it and deal with your leaves in some creative way rather than just put them at the curb. Thanks.
Feed it to the world, accept the outcome they propose. Oh, feed it to the world, we'll come out smelling like a rose. If we feed it to the world, well, it's the best advice I've heard. Oh, feed it to the world, I think it's best for all concerned. If we feed it to the world.